Meeting is now streaming live on YouTube. Oh, man.
The future is happening.
Yeah.
You are live.
It's not happening on our end.
Huh? Got that delay.
Yeah, it's full delay.
The delay.
Hello.
Stop. Okay, can you still hear me, Rob?
I can hear you.
So hang on. Okay, good. Now there we go. So yeah, we're live. So hang on, I'm getting in. All right, dude, we got 13 people. We're doing it. What's up, everybody? Happy New Year.
I don't see it.
Josh Bloom is there. What's up, dude? Donnie's in. Mike on a bike. We're getting some people. So welcome, everybody. Rich Drew here, Australia's mountain bike capital of the world. Welcome to 2021.
Hey there, all you cats and kittens.
Oh, wait a minute. There's an echo. So are we still echoing? Somebody tell us if we're echoing. Damn it. Rob, you might need to turn something like the YouTube off.
Oh, I could do that.
Can anybody out there tell me if there is an echo or not? Daniel, pinch flat. Are we echoing or is our audio at proper modulation? All right, we're going to pretend that it's good. We are going to, oh, David, he's kidding. You got me, David. Cheers. Cheers to 2021.
Salud.
Bang. Chin chin.
Chin chin.
That tangerine.
We're rocking tangerine. Yeah.
Tangerine.
So
Tangerine for the win.
Yeah. There we go. Tangerine, welcome. Episode number 1 of 2021, which I don't know. I don't know what that means, but we're here. We're doing it. Excited to have Andy Lai
In the house.
So if anybody doesn't know, we're here in Bentonville. Andy's here with me. Andy Lai has been in the mix a long time with me, taking pictures, doing videos. I posted some things yesterday, some throwbacks that were pretty fun, some memories. I go through the phone and I forget about things. So that whole Ellsworth episode I forgot about. And so I posted that, and it was funny because we've been doing this a long time.
It's been a minute. Had some people hit me up when he posted it. I reshared it on my stories and like, dude, that's from a while back, isn't it? I'm like, dude, that's ages ago. It feels like you barely remember it until you see. Good times.
Yeah.
Ellsworth.
Good times. So
I heard much from the old Ellsworth. What's going on over there, I wonder?
I have no idea, dude. I have no idea what's going on with Ellsworth. I've seen nothing recently, but who knows, man? How are you, Rob?
I'm doing tremendous. Had a huge ride today.
Had a huge ride.
So it actually wasn't that long in miles, but it was big in altitude.
Yeah, we were talking about that. Give us some quick numbers about altitude and that ride. Just a quick breakdown on it.
4,100 feet of climbing.
Dang.
21 miles.
In 21 miles. That's big.
Yeah.
That's pretty big. Well, we're not going to talk about what bike it was on yet. So
it was on a bike with 2 wheels.
Yeah, it was on a bike with 2 wheels.
We'd have to ride like 80 miles in Dallas to get close to 4,000 feet.
Yeah.
The altitude comes furiously out here on this trail, especially. This thing is straight up.
Where we at?
So
South
Mountain? Yeah. What was the temperature like on that ride?
It was mid 50s. I started with a jacket. I had to strip it off. I got hot.
Oh no! You started with a jacket? Was there any snow on the ground?
Cold weather gloves. I started sweating in my hands. Luckily I thought to bring an extra pair of gloves. It was a good play.
It is a good play.
The veteran move.
So we did a little Instagram live last night. Had decent
37 million viewers.
37. It was come on, dude. It's 370,000.
You broke the servers at YouTube.
We broke the servers. Dude, my glasses are actually hurting me. So let's kind of recap that. So 2021. People have made mention to, dude, your brother's been around a lot more. What's up with that? It's because he's going to be around a lot more.
You say we're related.
Yeah. Yeah. So do you want to kind of recap what you said last night about, I think, I don't know, just give us the lineage, I think, of the brief lineage, if you would, of your riding career to this point, and what your decision was for 2021, and a little bit about why, because I don't know that you've really ever done that. And the 210,000 people that are watching right now, they want to know.
For a treat. They want to know.
Yeah.
So, as you may or may not know, I started riding mountain bikes seriously when I turned 40 because I was fat and I didn't like being fat.
Now, hang on. Somebody made a comment about, dude, I can't believe you've only been riding bikes for 10 years. Let's be very clear.
No.
Riding bikes your whole life.
I've been riding bikes my entire life, but it's funny because I just had that conversation with a guy. He's like, I've only been riding mountain bikes for a year. I'm like, you didn't ride a bicycle as a kid? Well, yeah. I'm like, so yeah, dude, you had experience on a bike. It's not like you never rode a bike till you turned 40.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But at 40.
I was never interested in riding bikes, but at 40, some friends recommended that I try it as a way to exercise and get in better shape. And it was the best choice that I ever made. And as I got better on the bike, more proficient, and you started riding bikes, we talked about the big mountain enduro and going and racing. And in 2015, we were going to do it in 2016. 2015, I went out and did it and frickin' rocked a championship. So yeah, that was pretty good. Then I backed it up in 2016, and all of a sudden doors started opening, and next thing you know, it's an actual other career. So it's been a fantastic ride. And in 2017, the opportunity came to ride for Pivot. It was a real thrill for me, something I'm very proud of. And it's been a great 4 years riding for them and representing that company. They make tremendous products. They're
18 and 19 were the best, right?
What's that?
18 and 19 were the best years by far.
Yeah. So yeah, for anybody who follows me or knows me, in 2018, I was in Bentonville with Rich.
Oh, that wasn't why. I was just saying, because I was there with you, it was the best. But
Well,
keep going on that trajectory about our amazing trip to Bentonville and how you decided to end it, how you ruined the weekend.
I did. And Andy, it's apropos because you were there as well. My nurse Andy.
I was just talking about this with him.
He did his part.
You and I both got stacked up.
Yeah.
And then the boogeyman caught up to him a couple weeks later.
That's right.
All three of us
put him to sleep.
2018, dude.
It was a rough one.
So let's fast forward mid 2019. Things are going well. We're racing.
Yep.
Mountain enduro.
Yeah, we're finally doing it. We're racing together in the big mountain enduro.
And it was not like we were doing Ride Series clinics. We had our setup, so it was our setup, part of the Pivot setup. I mean, dude, it was
great,
firing on all cylinders.
Yeah, it was really, really killing it. And so we were at Winter Park. It was fantastic, great weekend. I came back and went for a ride with Stephanie McDaniel, my Pivot teammate. And about 15 minutes in, I completely tomahawked myself, breaking my neck, my back in several places, my collarbone and my arm.
Sorry about the face, chest, breast, neck, and head.
Yeah, that pretty much put an end to the 2019 career. Woohoo! So yeah, that was a stinger. That one left a mark.
All right. So then from there, we had
well, you and I had talked about because of my background and what I think is a better than average ability to explain how things work when I analyze them. We talked about doing just that, trying things, talking about things. Early on, you were doing reviews even on the Pivot bikes when you rode for Pivot, and you were telling me I should do that. But my feeling on it was I don't have any credibility talking about Pivot bikes because I'm contractually obligated to Pivot. And even though I think they're amazing, nobody's going to take my word for
it. And so that was kind of the genesis, I think, of where we are now, because I disagreed with you. And I said, you didn't have to say they're good bikes. So that was the difference. And that was part of why I wanted us to get to where we're at. I don't think people question that they're good bikes. They want to know what you think. Who are you as a rider? Where do you ride? What do you ride? And why are you on that bike? And I think as a company, Pivot, I don't know if they were in a position where they could make use of that. There was a lot going on. The company was growing. And that's part of why I wanted to go and do something else. I felt like I had a lot of value that wasn't being properly used. So that wasn't to the benefit of Pivot, and it wasn't to the benefit of me. And I also thought that you played a key role in that. So you decided to stay. I did my own thing.
And with COVID happening, I mean, there was never a better opportunity to start up a YouTube thing because people are held captive. And so I think that, like we talked about yesterday, likely Pivot was not in a position to pivot, and again, no pun intended, and take advantage of the content creation aspect
Or
when
just
racing
as
stuff.
it did last night.
Ironically, I didn't set that up. It just,
I know.
Like,
It's
just
hard
came
not
me.
to. I mean, pretty soon we're gonna have to pivot to another topic, and it's just,
right.
I mean,
That's right.
it's there.
Yeah.
Well,
So anyway, it was discouraging. 2020 was discouraging just because I didn't do anything. There was opportunity. Obviously, you had a lot of things going on, and I couldn't help you because I was contracted, and so that the embargo aspect of a contract becomes difficult when you're not doing anything. So I felt the same way. I have tremendous value. I always thought of myself as the most valuable tool in the toolbox that's covered by something. So you forget it's there and you never use it.
That's pretty good. So,
and then at the end of the year, when it comes time to negotiate or you're sifting through your assets, trying to decide what's most valuable. And you're like, what is this thing? I've never used this once. Let's get rid of it. And it's because you never had a chance to use it. You don't realize how valuable it is.
Yep.
Anyway, long story short, I feel like I can do good for people. If you're a guy like me, my age, you're a professional, you have resources, and you decide you want to go ride mountain bikes, and money's not the problem. So you've got 10 grand to throw away on a mountain bike. There may be 20 or 30 different bikes you can buy, and they're all fantastic, but maybe 5 are specifically going to suit you best. And you don't know which 5 that is. I want to be the guy to tell you. I want to tell you why. I want to, what I think, why I think what I think, what aspects of the bike cause me to feel how I do about it, and why those things work the way they do.
and so that's, again, the thing that gets me probably the most fired up is for you to kind of come on board. I mean, simple way to state it is you're going to kind of come on board my platform as we grow your platform. So you'll make more appearances in videos on Rich Drew YouTube. We'll start making you videos for your YouTube. So
unless, of course, you start losing followers, like, that guy's a dick, we're out of here.
Anybody who rides flat pedals, dude, it's a mass exodus. But either way, I think the path and what we're going to do, we don't quite have everything laid out in concrete. We're shaping it with dirt right now, so we can figure out what it's going to be, but you're going to be around more. And I think that's going to be to the benefit of everybody. What it's going to be moving forward, who knows? Because there's a lot of different things happening. We're going to ride a lot of different bikes and try and do as much as we can together. But I think it's important that people understand your part of this, I think, is to bring insight, and build on. I can entertain people. I'm not the best about bikes. I don't know the most. And I think that's going to be important. And it's, it's funny, Thomas, what if a bike brand reaches out to you with a solid deal, but you aren't very particular with the style or feel of the brand?
Oh, that
dude,
sounds...
I'm not going to say that hasn't happened. I don't know, dude. I mean, look, this whole thing is funny. Like, people have said something about
funny,
specialized.
ha-ha.
Not funny, haha. And I've told people, it's not a coincidence I have a lot of specialized bikes in my garage. That's for a reason. Specialized saw what I was doing and said, hey, dude, we want to be a part of that. Here's some bikes to ride. Here's some support to go make some videos. That's literally it. That's it. I'm not a specialized guy. I'm on their bikes. They make great bikes. They allow me to do the things that I want to do. Is another brand going to come out and do that? Possibly. I really hope so, because then we can keep doing what we're doing. And I love riding bikes. And he and I talked about that last night. I love riding bikes. So I'm not the one, and I'm not discerning. Like, I'll ride anything. And it's funny. I love telling those stories about when we grew up riding motocross, like testing and stuff like that. It's like, dude, how does it work? I don't know. I got back here. I went and rode it. I got back. I don't care, dude. I'll just go ride.
Cold
Rob's
trickle.
different. Yeah. Cold trickle, dude. They told me get on the bike and ride. I ride it. So for you to be able to extrapolate the things that I'm saying, or maybe what I'm experiencing, I think is going to take what I've been doing to another level. And I'm excited about that, because I don't think about those things the way you do. Like, what bike were you riding today, Rob? What did you go have a killer ride on? First new bike you've ridden?
The Specialized Turbo Levo SL.
Turbo Levo SL. So you've had that sitting in your garage for a while, not able to ride it, just looking at it.
Just looking at it.
Getting that electric feel.
I have to say, though, so the other day, on January 1st, I rode the Levo in the morning, group ride, had a good time. And then Jen and I went out for a ride, and I rode my Switchblade, and damn it, that bike is good. That Switchblade is just such a good bike.
So let's go to the question I asked last night. What's your bike of the year, Rob Drew?
My bike of the year is the Pivot Switchblade.
Pivot Switchblade. Why is that?
I had the Trail 429.
Wait a minute. Special announcement. Panther Black Audi RS5. So the Panther has great taste in cars, and he has super chatted us $6.99. I forget about that damn thing every time. So
Super chat. Pow.
Panther, thank you so much for that. $6.99 might pay for 3/4 of a latte here at Onyx Coffee Lab.
I lost
Carry
my
on
train
with
of
your
thought.
story. Pivot Switchblade. Go.
Yes. So at the beginning of the year, I made the mistake of getting a large Firebird instead of I got a large Firebird, and I got a Mach 4 SL. And I had already from last year a Trail 429 Enduro. And that was really my go-to bike. That thing just shocked me, impressed me. It was great. But I did a lot of testing and riding of the Switchblade prior to launch. I had some involvement in the launch of that bike, which was really cool. And then I had a trip to Spain planned for 10 days when that bike launched. And so I got one and took it to Spain. And it really, I had a content idea when I went there. And although I have all the content, nothing ever materialized with it, because it took me till now to buy a computer that can edit.
So hang on, before we went live, Rob's on his brand new wacky zoomy, like $4,000 Mac.
My new $4,000 Mac. What do you think, everybody?
So it was funny because he was talking about running Final Cut and getting proficient with it. And I joked with him, dude, let's not focus on the Final Cut. Just make one damn cut. The first cut. Get the first cut done.
Don't worry about the Final Cut.
So the Switchblade, you love it?
Yeah. So I wrote it. I wrote it in Spain, and it really impressed me. And then when I ended up racing the Firebird, you've been to obviously Big Sky. That's legit steep.
Actually, yeah. I'm sorry. I have been to Big Sky. Slipped my mind for a second. Greatest race in my life. Greatest
race.
You
might have forgot about that. Yeah, great. Yeah.
What happened? So, I blacked out.
Well, I mean, you rode the Firebird there, and you had been riding the 5.5. It's the trails are legit steep enduro trails.
Yeah.
So I was certainly going to ride the Firebird there. And then at Winter Park, same thing. I was dialed into the Firebird, so I took the Firebird. And for a little while, I didn't ride the Switchblade. But once I got back home and recovered from this year's been good. So, yeah, we only did 2 races. Got back home, started riding the Switchblade more. And, that was just my go-to bike. I really dig it. It's very capable, super efficient on the climbs.
So very much where you're at. Like, it makes a lot of sense where you're at.
Yeah.
Okay. Now let's throw it to our guest, Andy Lai, by way of Dallas, Texas.
By way of Hong Kong.
What is your bike of the year, dude?
Da Vinci Troy. That's why I bought it.
Da Vinci Troy. Tell us a little bit about.
Well, and I would say that seems like a lot of bike for Dallas.
It is, but I bought that bike with intentions of buying a bike to ride where I want to ride, not where I have to ride all the time.
You're
back
a
home.
bro.
Yeah, back home, all the trails are XC. Like I said, to get 4,000 feet of elevation back home, I'm riding like the same thing.
Have to ride 2,000 miles.
Yeah. So, I've got a Specialized Epic to get some miles in, but my fun bike, the capable bike, is the Troy.
Yeah.
And I can attest to that bike is rad.
It's a fun bike.
It's a great bike.
Climbs well for a massive bike.
So you sticking with that next year, or you have your eyes on anything else?
I don't know. Some things in the pipeline, right?
Look at this guy. Look at this guy. Rob. Actually, let me answer. I'll go ahead and ask myself. Rich, what's your 2020 bike of the year? Well, man.
So many to choose from. I rode so many.
I rode so many. I rode a lot, but I think hands down my bike of the year is the Transition Spur. Great bike. Instantly felt comfortable when I got on it, and it's handled pretty much everything here that I've ridden. Now, what I told you last night was somebody made a comment about, dude, you like that over the Delano? And I have been very vocal about the fact that I really liked the Fazzari Delano Peak. And if I had to choose between the two, I would choose the Delano Peak because, like Andy, I think that bike would be more capable for all of the places I want to ride. But where I'm riding here and where I've been riding that Transition Spur, rad bike. But it's hard to choose. I mean, my Lebo SL was awesome. My Lebo, I loved the Lebo. I rode a couple of other bikes. A Trek Rail 9.8, dude, awesome e-bike. Really liked it. I only had it for a day. A Rebel Rascal. Just so many bikes. And like next year, it's funny. I don't have anything in particular that I'm thinking. I mean, I'd like to ride the new Troy because they made some changes to it, and I really like that bike. I'd like to ride a new Django just to see because I like that bike. And it's tough. Somebody asked here, would you take the Spur to Ponca? I have not been to Ponca. I don't know. If I had to ride it there, I'm sure I could ride it there. Would it be the best bike to take? Probably not. I probably want to take something a little bit.
I want to take a CR450 to Ponca.
Ha, 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 ha. That's funny. So you, Rob, you got the Lebo SL and you're digging that bike?
It's good. It's really good.
So you went on a big.
I haven't ridden anything but a Pivot in the last 4 years, and I haven't ridden a new Specialized bike in quite a while. But I don't know that anybody would argue those guys make a fantastic product. And there's definitely, like we talked about yesterday, I'm taking notes about that bike and the things. My barometer is Pivot, so I'm comparing that bike really against the Switchblade as far as how it handles and the handling characteristics that I like, maybe things I don't like as much. And it's funny today on my ride, I had time and opportunity to make some analysis about, you remember that book I was reading?
Yeah.
So let's not say who it's from, but one of the things the book talks about is the position of your handlebars. And the argument is if they're low and close to you, it gives you more ability to let the bike go. It gives you more range to let the bike go. Now, if that's all you're concerned with, that is a true statement. But I need a 50 millimeter stem on that Specialized. Yeah. And I really need handlebars that rise more. I changed the bars to some carbon bars, but they're only 20 millimeter rise. I probably need about a 30 millimeter rise. And I need a longer stem for the reasons that you and I talked about.
Yes.
And several circumstances came up today where I almost went flying over the handlebars because of the argument that I make that counters the argument he makes.
Yeah. Yeah, it's funny. And we're definitely going to get into that. As we do this, what's cool is questions pop up. And I've been waiting for this question for a while. And it's, what is your opinion on the mullet? And I'm going to tell you, dude, I'm a fan. I am a big fan of the mullet. Not on me, on other people. Major fan of the mullet.
It's exciting that haircut's coming back around. I mean, after Joe Dirt, I would have never thought that the mullet would be popular again.
So JTH is saying I need a mullet. I'm not going to disagree. It wouldn't fly. I'd love to, but my wife is not down. Like, I grew my hair out and it was longer and I was really digging it. Like, I was going for this look where it was kind of like flowing out of the hat a little bit. You know what I'm talking about? Like curling out a little bit, and it was working. But the problem was when I didn't have the hat on, God, I looked bad. And, well, I mean, sometimes I can't always wear a hat. So I had to cut it nice and tight, high and tight. So we're going to keep that. Another one is, Tony said, any comments about experience with client service from bike companies? Yeah, I'll tell you a couple of mine. Specialized. Awesome with a capital AWE. Rad, just a great company. Everything that they do has been super professional, and it's been a great relationship because they're like, yeah, dude, go do your thing. If you need anything, let us know. Cool.
Yeah, but you haven't had to deal with the client services aspect of the company, right?
Well,
you're not a retail customer having to deal with. I guess I don't know how that question.
No, it's yeah, but I mean, what I can do. Well, so here, let me finish.
Okay. Can I finish? Can I finish? Okay, I'm finished.
It's funny. I've had a great experience with them. Fazari has been amazing. And what's funny is, I guess I can relate it to as I do these things and I'm on a Specialized, I start to communicate with people who are also Specialized people, and you start to get things. And what I found is you normally get the good and the bad. There's a balance of it usually. And dude, I've literally had nobody has said anything bad about Fazari. And it's cool. I mean, nobody's said anything bad necessarily about Specialized, but it's such a bigger company and there's more people that deal with it. Transition was awesome. I borrowed a guy's spur that came through the clinic and wanted to ride it because it was a sweet bike. Rode it, loved it, made a video and said, dude, I'd love to ride a large. And then 2 weeks later, I get an email from Lars Sternberg that says, hey, dude, I saw your video. It's pretty cool. You can ride halfway decent. We'll send you a large. And that was awesome. And I've ridden that bike for a long time. It's still in my garage. I haven't heard from them. I'm assuming they want it back, but
it might be missing after tomorrow morning when I leave.
Yeah, when Eddie
Sorry about that bike.
But again, I'll give you another one. I reached out to somebody at Orbea about trying to get some bikes because a lot of people were asking me about Orbeas. And dude, I basically got laughed at. And I remember looking at the phone, like kind of looking around thinking, wow, like that hurts. Like I'm getting bikes from some of the biggest companies in the world to ride. They're offering. I'm not even asking. And they shut me down. So, I mean, there's a lot of different experiences. And again, that doesn't mean anything at the retail level, I'm sure. And right now it's a very unique time. So I don't know. Yeah. Interesting. But, somebody's talking about California businesses and they're trying to get out of that state. That's pretty funny. Right. So let's
Texas.
Yeah, they're all moving to Texas. Let's talk about some things this year that maybe you are looking forward to. So obviously you want to ride some more bikes.
Yep.
And anything in particular that you'd like to ride?
I'd like to ride the Spur. I'd like to ride the new Transition Sentinel.
Yeah.
I'd like to ride the Stump Jumper Evo. Heard really good things. That won bike of the year, right? With Pink Bike, didn't it?
That's what they're saying. Yeah. I rode one and it's a hell of a bike, dude. I rode an S4. It's gnarly.
I pedaled around Brian Eastman's S3 and it felt to me like with a longer stem, that bike would be the right size for me. But Alex is claiming that he thinks I should be on an S4.
I think an S4, definitely. Because you want it high, how you'd run it. It would make sense. Yeah. The regular Stump Jumper is the one that we don't know. much about.
Yeah, he said that one you would go S3.
Yeah.
That's what he told me.
Well, we're going to see, because I told him when they're available 4s for me. So who knows? Hopefully soon those bikes will come in and I can ride them a little bit, and then you can ride them around. Anything else on your radar to ride that you?
I'd love to ride the Delano Peak. You say good things about it. I've not had a chance to ride it, and that would be a straight competitor to the Switchblade. So it would be really good to ride those bikes back to back and see how it compares.
Yeah.
The things that I'm interested in are different, because I'm interested in how does it technically climb.
And so that's what's going to be cool about getting some Delanos out there in Phoenix, is riding.
And actually, let me just interrupt on the technical climb note. Today, I was supposed to meet Ryan at the Buena Vista parking lot.
Okay.
So I took off from my house at 10 o'clock.
Way too much here. Don't give away too much, because we are making how to technically climb on an Levo SL.
I'm just saying, I took off from my house at 10 o'clock. You know the ride from my house to the Buena Vista parking lot. What time would you expect that I would arrive at the parking lot?
Oh, that's a healthy ride, dude. I don't know. I mean,
10:30. 10:31.
Wow.
31 minutes.
Wow, dude.
Yeah, and that wasn't like killing myself, but
that's hard for people who don't have context. And Tony, dude, it's not that I didn't want to ride your Stumpy Evo. I rode somebody else's, so I didn't have to ride yours. So JTH wants to talk about flex stays.
Flex stays. I don't.
Hang on a second. AP1 Reviews and Adventures said Industry 9 changed his life. They've changed.
Right. That's right. Yes.
They've changed many lives. And
that's the one thing that my Levo SL needs is some Industry 9 wheels.
Tony Montione asks, any Canyon? Dude, there's been a little bit of talk.
Yes.
There's been a little talk, so I don't know. Hopefully.
Yeah, I very much want to ride one of those. I almost bought a Neuron. Yeah. I was online just looking. They had bikes available, and I thought the price for the complete bike was a frame price.
That's pretty.
I'm like, Rich, is it possible these guys are selling a whole bike for $32.99?
Yeah,
that was shocking.
Yeah, it's crazy. They
and it seems to be a very well spec'd bike. I'm thinking if it was junk, that'd be a great deal.
Yeah. People are asking, would you ride that? I'll ride everything. Whatever I can get my hands on, I'll ride. And a lot of people have asked, will you ride this? Will you ride that? It's not that simple. I'm not in a position where companies will just send me bikes, or I have an open line for all of them to get bikes. So I'll ride what I can get. Long story short, somebody basically said, hey, dude, we got you a Genius or a Scott Genius tuned, like Axis, like rad bike that you're going to get for like 4 to 5 months to ride. Are you okay with that? I was like, yeah, sure. With that. Okay. So I'm fired up. Like that's just something that somebody else did. And yeah, the Spectral, I'd love to get on a Spectral 29. So we'll see. But let's talk about.
Jay's like, I'd like to ride the Chamois Hagar. Don't hate.
Yeah. That would be perfect. He's dude, Jorge coming in with a $20 super chat.
Yeah, Jorge, you rock,
dude, rad dude. He came and rode with us, did a class in Phoenix. He's been bitten by the e-bike bug, and he's getting a 21 Wild from Orbea. And dude, that's one of the bikes that I want to ride because it looks rad.
Jorge, hook me up to let me ride that thing when you get it.
Yeah, definitely. So before I forget, dude, let's talk about the flex days, because that I think, again, from an engineering perspective, I don't know enough about it. And somebody asked me Spur or Epic Evo. And I said, that's not an easy question to answer. I think it all depends on who you are. If you're more of a cross-country person that wants to kind of expand your scope a little bit, Epic Evo is the way to go. If you're more of a trail rider, I think the Spur is the way to go. Well, then they asked about comparing to a Trail 4.9. And I said, well, the first thing I'll tell you is the Trail 4.9 feels like a lead weight compared to a Spur. It feels like a way heavier bike. It is a heavier bike. And what the guy said was, well, does that mean it's more not necessarily capable, but there'll be more longevity out of it. And I thought, I don't know, dude. I can't answer that. There's definitely potential, but like the Epic Evo, dude, I threw a beefy tire on the rear and Cushcore XC in it and have just brutalized that bike. Like left some of these trails in ruins. And I get back and I look at it and I'm like, how long is that thing going to keep up with that? Like, I'm just waiting for something to break and I wouldn't be surprised, but it hasn't. So what do you think of flex chainstays?
I'm just going to say I don't know enough about them. You know, I hear the name. I've seen the videos of them bottoming the bike out, but I'm just not seeing the whole flex part. It's not like an elastomer. I just don't understand what the idea is, and I don't have enough experience with it to really have an opinion.
Yeah, I haven't on my
I applaud your honesty.
Well, it seems to be it's not a 4-bar anymore, right? It's a one-piece rear triangle.
Yeah.
On the carbon frames, the aluminum is still 4-bar.
Okay. But that's what we're talking about, the carbon frame.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. And so again, I think that's something, it'd be cool to get an engineering perspective on it. And I think we can certainly do that. I mean, I'd
love to talk to a specialized engineer about it and have him explain to me the theory behind it and what its intended purpose is.
Well, again, JTH is saying, less weight, of course, one less pivot, so you don't have any wear, which makes perfect sense. But I think it's a matter of like return on investment and benefits versus negatives, so to speak. Like, yeah, you have one less pivot, but when you have that pivot in the back, you'll get a little bit of separation, as I understand it, between braking forces and pedaling input forces. So there's something to be said for that. I don't know. I have a decent amount of time on the Spur and on the Evo, the Epic Evo, and I've ridden them hard. There haven't been any issues yet, and I haven't heard.
Lateral stability would be the only thing I'd worry about, like under heavy pedal load, out of the saddle, heavy pedal load.
What's funny is I don't know that I've felt any issues with that. And again, how hard have I side loaded them? Decently. I mean, nothing super gnarly, because I just don't think those bikes are suited for that. But it's funny, I'm still running the stock wheels, and the stock wheels, I was wrong. The stock wheels on the Spur are the M1700s, dude. They're tiny, and they're like, they can be noodles. It's decent. And I've ridden that bike pretty hard. The carbon wheels, the factory carbon Roval wheels, are on the Specialized, and those things are pretty legit, dude. Like I've been impressed with those. So it's funny because I haven't had
engagement. It's just not the free hub engagement is.
No, of course it's not I9, but it's funny because it's interesting. I would expect more lateral movement out of them, a little bit more flex, and I haven't really felt it. So again, dude, I think what you're bringing up is that I think it's relative to who you are as a rider, how hard you ride, how dynamic you are. Like take Richie Rude. I mean, dude, if you could measure the force that he puts out, the twisting force that he puts out on his bikes, dude, it's got to be violent. The numbers have to be violent. So a guy like that, if you're doing something like that near those numbers, I don't know if that bike's going to make sense for you. Like, granted, there's got to be a downside to it. Like, I think with almost everything, there is a downside. So with flex chainstays, potentially to somebody somewhere, like Jay said, wow, I just looked up flex stays. I don't think they're ogre proof. Maybe they're not, so maybe he's the one that, maybe he doesn't do it, but that's something that I got on my list down here that we'll see if we can get an engineer in to talk about some flex days, because I think that would be pretty cool. What are you going to do first to your Levo SL, out of curiosity?
Wheels.
It's 21, so wheels.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Yeah, I ordered some grade 315 Industry 9 wheels. So they're very much e-bike spec. What else? As far as setup.
Why didn't you order 2?
You have you have a relationship. You go ahead and order them. This guy.
you're gonna hack and reprogram it.
Volume spacer. I'm gonna put a volume. I'm gonna jailbreak it. I'm gonna put a volume spacer in the fork.
Jailbreak it? What the hell is that?
I need it to go 40 miles an hour.
No, dude.
Take the restrictions off.
Take off the restrictor plate. Off the
red dragon. The green dragon. Let the green lizard breathe a little bit.
That's right.
So a couple volume reducers in that thing.
Just one, I think, is all I need. It handled really good today. I bumped up the pressures a bit, and I sent it a couple of times quite heftily to where I was flinching. I was kind of waiting for the landing, and
it was okay.
Took her like a champ.
That's cool. That's good to hear. Yeah, I'm excited to get mine out because I've ridden the 20 obviously a lot, and I like the 36 and the DPX2 on the 21. And I was telling Andy, I think I would like to, once I get the wheels, I think I'd like to go probably X2 in the rear and a 38 or a Zeb up front and just make it real heavy duty and just ride the holy heck out of it.
Yeah, I mean, I suppose if a little's good, a lot's better, but
that's what I'm saying.
I just haven't felt the need for it.
I mean, dude, it's just like you at the donut shop, bro.
The need for the Zeb or the X2?
Either.
Yeah.
Yeah, the bike seems to work pretty good the way it's outfitted suspension wise. I could see it being an issue with just a DPS and a 34. That would not be awesome. However, I think if I had one of those that you have, I could do some tuning to make it.
Of course you could. And we'll talk about that. We'll get into that stuff. So early year, it's great that Andy's here. Actually, early year, we have some things planned out. And one of those initiatives is a Ride Series clinic back in Phoenix, January 23rd and 24th. And then we're going to hang out and we're going to do some filming. So big plans to do some filming there. We're going to do some Lebo SL videos. We're going to do a few other videos on some other bikes that we won't say yet. We'll let that come out organically as it happens. And then trying to do something else that would be pretty rad if it comes together. Are you excited about getting more in the mix on some of this content, some how-to, some bike review stuff?
Absolutely.
So
I feel I have knowledge to share, and I would like to share it.
Let me ask, of that knowledge, what are you most excited to share? Maybe generalizing, but then digging into potentially a specific situation or scenario. Because you have a vast wealth of info.
I'm pretty excited to talk about suspension setup.
And why is that?
Well, just because I think that a lot of people they're not maximizing their stuff. It's funny, today I was riding with Ryan and we were talking about how he's dialing in his new shuttle. It's got a 38 on the front, and I had a 38 on my Firebird. I got a lot of time with that fork, and it's amazing. And he was telling me what he's doing, and it's not what I would do. And so I think if I was tuning his bike for him, if I was his mechanic, I think his stuff would work way better. And like, he's a legit fast guy, and he would be faster if his stuff worked better.
So go deeper. Give us more of an example. And what I'd like you to do, if you could, is bring in your history when you were younger, where you had a similar situation.
Well, right out of high school, I worked for a suspension company, and I got myself in a position where I was doing important work for them, building shocks, complete shocks. So we would drill the piston valving out. We did everything, and I had the opportunity to work with some teams, and
this is supercross, motocross stuff.
Yeah. And some road racing stuff too, but it never failed. You would watch a guy ride and he'd come in and you'd be like, so, I mean, I can assess the guy taking a look at it, and I got an idea. Okay, this is what we need to do. And he comes in and he wants the opposite. And I'm thinking to myself, this dude does not know what he wants. And so I would go to the bike and I'd make the adjustment I thought was necessary. And I'd tell him, yeah, you're all set, man. I did what you wanted. And they'd go out and it'd be great. And they'd come back and think they were right. And I'm like, okay, yeah, good job, bro. You're the man. And that's the type of thing I encounter all the time. And a lot of suspension is counterintuitive. Sometimes what you think you feel isn't what you feel.
Yeah. And what setting in particular came up in that scenario that you spoke of?
Rebound damping is the most notorious overused adjustment on suspension.
Why?
Because people think when their bike has already got too much rebound and it's packing, they think it's bucking them. They think it's too quick. It's not too quick. It's just settled down so deep in the stroke that it's resistant to, it can't soak up any more bumps. So it bucks them.
What was funny is I saw some guys in Dallas made like a public service announcement video, and it was funny. Like there was some good information. It was funny. And then all of a sudden it was slow your rebound down before you even get out here. And I was like, oh,
you lost me, bro. You lost me.
Yeah. So it's funny that, so with him, you would probably, what in particular with him though? Cause I can't imagine him being a rebound setting.
Well, the difference, so the first problem is, you're talking about a 38 on a shuttle. That's a 50-pound bike.
Yeah.
And so right out of the gate, I'm like, have you added any volume spacers? No, I just turned up the compression. I'm like, dude, so you're stopping it from working. That's not what you want to do. So yeah, the first thing, if I'm out on a ride and the thing's bottoming out with the pressure I have, I'll add compression so I'm not bottoming it out. And then I'll go back and I'll potentially, the first thing would be add more air pressure, unless that doesn't give me enough sag. Then I know I've got to add a volume spacer. I've got to create some ramp to slow the thing down as it's pushing into the compression or into the travel.
Yeah. Pretty simple. I mean, that's just the way it's going to work. If the air pressure you need doesn't give you the sag that you should have, you need to make a change.
Well, my position is the ramp has to be right and the pressure has to be right. So the sag is correct.
Yes.
But from there, I try to run as little compression and rebound damping as possible because that leaves the suspension free to move.
Yeah.
The more you restrict it, the less it's working. And if you don't have enough pressure and it's bottoming out, well, you can add compression damping, but that's not, the problem isn't that you don't have enough compression damping. The problem is you don't have enough air pressure or you don't have a quick enough ramp.
Let me ask you this. Would you bring your bike set up as it is there for riding there and bring it here and ride it as it's set up?
Yes.
Okay. And would you think it would be optimal?
For me, it would be.
Okay. You don't think there's anything to be said for changing it for different situations?
Not if it works good.
Ooh, interesting topic. Some people right now, the 44,000 listening to this are like, but I don't know about that. I might disagree. What is one setting that could potentially change? If you came here from where you're riding super gnarly, chunky downhill to the giant RC car track-esque flow trails of the mountain bike capital of the world, what is one thing that you might make a small adjustment with?
I don't know that I would change anything.
You wouldn't adjust rebound a little bit?
Why?
Because there aren't as many high speed situations.
Yeah, but the rebound speed is not a threat to me. Why would I change it?
Okay, good point. Touche.
Yeah, I have no reason to slow the rebound down. It's not a threat to me.
Nobody makes you bleed your own blood.
Right.
The devil, that's a pretty good one.
That's right, man. Yeah.
Okay, so suspension, and we'll definitely get into suspension.
Well, like when we do clinics, what we tell people is if your setup is not optimal, but you're used to it, familiarity is better than optimum. You want to work your way to optimum a little at a time, but you don't just want to change your bike. Like we talked about before, you could have your levers sticking straight up in the air. And if you're used to that and you can ride that way, it's not optimum. But if you change it abruptly, that discomfort could be a problem for you. And the same thing with suspension. If you're used to it being awful, you need to slowly make it good.
Okay, let's switch gears a little bit. And this topic came up recently. How would you compare a Southern Enduro Tour race or an Arkansas Enduro race? Don't mind him. with a big mountain enduro?
I would say I've been fortunate enough to ride at the highest level at places where I literally sat there at the top of the mountain thinking, I have no business being here.
So wait a minute.
I'll likely die on my way down the hill.
Wait a minute. So it's funny because I told Andy this earlier, dude. It's so funny. You're not talking about a BME. You're talking about something else. So we're going to get to that. To that. Please compare. And this isn't meant to be disparaging at all. I want to set some context here. You've done them both.
I don't know in a BME. I'm trying
First
to
thing
think.
is it's in the name. It's in the name.
Yeah,
big mountains.
You're racing in mountains. It's usually a lot of descending. They mix in some pedaling because fitness is an aspect. But I can't think of ever racing a stage that was like the shortest stages in BME I've ever ridden. I think were at least 3 minutes. And the longest ones were 20 plus minutes. Oh. So racing a stage for 20 minutes, that's pretty gnarly.
So how would you categorize the skill set needed for BME versus an enduro race in this part of the country? Is enduro across the board?
No.
Okay.
How so? You can, I mean, racing's racing to a degree, but yeah, I certainly don't want to disparage anybody. I'm stoked.
Not to disparage. We have an opportunity to set some context. That's all I'm trying to say. If you've only ridden one, you have no barometer. And that goes back to your first point. That's all I was trying to get at is they're very different. And I think people need to understand that, because have you ever ridden anywhere in North America that you looked at and said, dude, I'm not riding that?
Never.
Okay.
Never. So all the time, my thing is, if I go somewhere and there's a trail there, there's clear marks that tires have gone down it. If a man can ride it, I can ride it. That's always been my philosophy. Or a woman. If a person has
wait a minute. Just very quickly, quick sidebar. Please tell the Ray Morrison story, please. One more time.
Okay. So
I love it.
I get to Italy.
Because then that'll lead to what you were going to say in the beginning.
Yes. So I get to Italy for Finale Ligure. When you ride EWS races, the trails aren't open for practice. You get to practice the stages on specific days. You practice them in order.
EWS is Enduro World Series for those who may not know. Finale Ligure is in Italy.
You get one lap down, and that's it. So it's a 2-day race, and for me, I had to ride the transfers to ride the stages. So you basically do the race 2 days before you race, and they're monstrous days. So before practice days, there were previous years stages that were open for riding, and I know some of the factory guys from Giant, and
you were riding Giant at the time.
No, I was on a Pivot.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, okay.
I was on a Firebird 27.5, but those guys they were shuttling, and so they took me with them, and so we get up to the top. It's me, Josh Carlson, McKay Vezina, and Ray Morrison. And so Josh takes off, McKay takes off, and Ray looks at me and she's like, go ahead. And so I take off, and I'm 2 turns, those guys are gone. I can't see anything. And so I'm doing the best I can. I'm trying to remember to look up, and literally Ray Morrison is freaking right up my ass. Like, she's on me so hard, I just freaking
like
blow a turn.
A bologna sandwich.
Yeah. Yeah. So I blow a turn. She goes by. Same thing. 2 turns. She's gone. Can't even see her. So we get to the end, and everybody's hooting and hollering, high-fiving. And I go, she says, that was a sick trail, huh? And I'm like, yeah, I'd never ridden it before. She's like, yeah, me neither. And she totally smashed me.
Okay.
Yeah,
so now talk about some of the things that you saw in those EWS races, and in pre-ride, what decisions you made.
Well, so in that particular venue, the first stage of the race, so back to what I said, if a person's ridden it, I can ride it. So the first stage of the race was not a trail. They just put up tape down the side of a mountain, and they're like, this is it. Go ride it. It's a field full of sniper rocks. It was the steepest stuff I've ever even seen. And I didn't get, this was a 22-minute race stage. If you're going good.
Yeah.
It was quite longer for me, but if you're going good, it's 22-minute race stage. I didn't get 10% of the way down this thing, and my brakes got so hot they literally didn't even work anymore. I had to pull over and wait for my brakes to cool off.
Better get off those brakes.
That's right. So I'm sitting there, and these dudes are freaking hucking down the side of the mountain like they're trying to kill themselves, screaming woohoo! And I'm just like, oh my God, what am I even doing here?
Man, I need to go back to America.
I have no business being here. It was just frightening. And so, there was a stage in Canada, in Whistler, off the mountain. It was a backcountry stage. And same thing, you get one lap. So I'm going down through this section. And this was actually a existing trail. This wasn't a fresh one. But I came through this section and I completely freaking cartwheeled myself. Huge crash. And I knew I was going to eat shit when I was coming into it. It was just, I couldn't see any way through. So I pile it up huge. I pick myself up and I look back up. And so because you only get one lap, what a lot of guys do is they'll go back, they'll session stuff. They'll go back up, try again, go back up, try again. I looked at that thing and I thought, there's no other way I'm going to get down with less damage than that. And I left. And so on race day, I'm at the start of the stage and I'm just sitting there thinking, I am going to die right now. This is it. And luckily it had gotten so burned in by the time I got there, there was a way down and I was able to do it without trouble. I mean, even in Italy, when it came race time, I finished 9th in Italy. So top 10 finish. And it was awesome. I did really well there when it came to race time, but in practice, oh my God, I was just very frightened.
We got a Happy New Year's from a very special, really good looking gentleman named Jeff Lenoski.
Big Jeff Lenoski. Happy New Year's to you, sir.
Happy New Year's to you, Jeff.
Sorry, I have not gotten to hang out with you like Rich has.
Well, what's funny is Single Track Dad says he can't wait to see what's up in 2021. What I can tell you right now is the Drew brothers and Jeff Lenoski are going to be riding together at some point.
We're going to party, buddy.
Well, dude, he just went to Knoxville and loves it. So I wouldn't mind hooking up with him when we head out that way. So one of the things we're going to do, hopefully May or June, is go to Windrock and Canoga. So we're definitely going to ride those two places, but we'll see what Jeff has to say since he's been there. He might have some other stuff for us to ride. So,
well, on the note of content creators, I'm a little disappointed with our friend Jeff Kendallweed. The dude has been staying in Sedona, but he was down here in Phoenix. He must have lost my number or doesn't follow me on Instagram anymore or something. Forgot how to DM me. I'm really disappointed the guy didn't reach out. That's kind of not cool, but
whatever. I'd like to say he'll hear this and reach out, but I don't think he's watching us, dude. That's all right. You know how. You got his Instagram. Shoot him a message.
No, it's all right now.
I can guarantee.
I don't rate. Cool.
I can guarantee you that's not the case, dude. I think he has his family up there, and I think he has a lot going on. But I don't think there is any malice in that dude at all. So send him a message. He's probably upset because I told him the biggest Jeff, like the highest Jeff I've ever seen in the Oz Trails was Lenoski, dude. He hit Red Barn, and he like Drew from Lone Wolf was standing up, and Jeff jumped over him. So yeah, it was rad.
Lenoski goes big.
Yeah, he does.
He's got that dude. And he goes big.
Dude, you should have seen him when he was here, dude. Like he's your age. I think you guys are the exact same. Or no, I think he's a little younger.
How dare you insult him like that?
A little younger. He's a little younger than you, but
doesn't understand.
He's way more hipster than you. Like, dude, he came rolling in. He had his skinny jeans on and his his cool, and then he had like this beanie, like sailor style, rolled up, just kind of like sitting on top of his head. And we were at the Meteor, so like I'm like, damn, dude, I got to get more hipster.
Right in.
Yeah, he looked good, man. He looked real good. So yeah, that was fun, dude. I had a blast riding with him because he's just a cool dude. Like we went and we hit that double section, and he followed me in and was like, whoa, what the hell is this? And then we kind of talked about it. We broke it down a little bit, and it was so cool to see a guy that rides at that level basically say, dude, tell me what to do here. And I told him what to do, and he did it. And it worked. It was just awesome. And it was funny too, because people were
He's
there.
so coachable.
He really is. He really is. And it's funny because people were there, and it was funny because they were tripping out with this one dude, like comes up and his eyes are all big and he's like, oh my God, Jeff Lenoski. And then he sees Drew from Lone Wolf and he's like, I just watched your whole bike park series. The guy was just, he couldn't believe it. He's like,
Awestruck.
this is what happens when you come to the mountain bike capital of the world, I guess. And
Yeah.
somebody said something about like Lenoski's like, yeah, and that's Rich Drew. And the guy's like, yeah, who's that?
Is that your mechanic?
Yeah. Who's that? Yeah. It was pretty funny. So
Changes my tires. He's really good.
yeah, he changes my tires. So man, we should probably wrap it up, dude. I know we can keep going, but I don't know how long this Zoom is going to go for, to be honest with you. And you're yawning, so enough with you right in the
But
trash.
that happens at like 7.
Dude, I like this. This was fun, man. This was probably the most fun I've had doing this. We're going to do it more. So everybody who's watching, there's 450,000 people.
I'll have better lighting soon.
45. Yeah, have better lighting. We're going to step it up and do a little bit of a podcast. So very soon we'll get that worked out. We'll still do these like Q&A style and whatnot. But Andy Lai, you have anything to add?
No, it's fun.
It's a bold strategy, Cotton.
Thanks for letting me
Yeah.
know.
Let's see if it works out.
Oh, actually, Rob maybe should not put himself in the corner of the room next time.
You don't like that?
Nobody puts baby in a corner.
Yeah.
Well, he's got a really cool garage, and the idea is to use the garage. You have to have a background. Like, we got to have cool backgrounds. The problem
Yeah,
is I don't have good internet.
I've got to get some of that sound diffusing wall panels for the garage.
Yeah.
I'll get it sorted.
So I know it's the time where everybody's making announcements and whatnot and all that stuff. And I don't really have many announcements. I wish I did, but the plan is to keep doing what we're doing. And I don't think very little is going to change. Rob's going to be on as many bikes as we can get him on, and he's going to be a part of as much as we can do. And we're just going to try to do more. I think that's it. The plan is to race BME, hopefully. I mean, we talked about that. We talked about BME. We want to try to make some really rad content with that. We want to do a docu-series around it. So we want to bring everybody into how much of an adventure it is more than a race. So hopefully we can make that happen. We're trying. Other than that, we're going to do some adventures. We got some really neat things lined out to keep the content coming. And
I've got a Z-Road
Linux.
Catapo coming, and
Linux.
I'm excited about that.
let's not get into that right now. We'll get into that next time. All right, dude. If you have nothing else to add, again, we have the First Ride Series Clinic, January 23rd, 24th in Phoenix. We're going to have the rest of the first half of the year up very soon. So you're going to see him in Dallas. You're going to see him in Houston. We'll do Phoenix again, probably get up to Sedona. And then middle of the year, we're going to get to, of course, Denver. We're going to try to do some stuff in Utah. So we're going to hit some bigger cities, but we're going to do more here. So if you're watching this, come ride with us in the mountain bike capital of the world. So if you buy into it is the mountain bike capital of the world, you should come here. But if you're not sure, come here and let me tell you, let me show you through my eyes and probably Andy's why it is the mountain bike capital of the world. And Rob will be
drunk
here.
on an Onyx shake.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, yeah, right now it's an eggnog
Cinnamon
shake.
Toast Crunch, and it's on.
The holiday shake right now. Yeah, there's a lot of new stuff, man. So yeah, it's going to be cool. Make sure you're following Rob at the Rob Drew, at the Rich Drew, and Pedal Andy Pedal. So that's it.
Pedal, Andy, pedal.
From the mountain bike capital of the world, it's time to wrap this up. And you know what we say now. Peace out, dumpers.
Peace
Until next
out, dubbers.
Oh, hey, very cool 6-part video series coming. So a lot of people have asked, when are the next videos coming on YouTube? Next week. We're going to do 6 videos, trail overviews, and they're going to rip. Now,
Boom.
end it.
Peace out, dumpers.
Later.